I want to thank you guys for joining me for this episode of Corona Chronicles Live. I am really excited about my next guest. I have Ferlie here with me. We actually got acquainted through Virtual Team Network, and we'll get into some of that later. But before we get into our interview, we are going to let Ferlie say a few words about herself before we get started.
Woohoo! Terrific. Look at me. I'm thinking Thursday already. Terrific Tuesday. My goodness. Good morning to everyone who's out there, watching us right now. I've never done a podcast this early, and it's quite invigorating.
Yes.
I was so beaming with excitement that I could barely sleep, because
Oh,
I know that you are one of the sought after hosts and podcasts, and I'd love to be able to get the chance to reach your audience as well, because you are doing a phenomenal job inspiring so many people, and it is in perfect alignment with what I stand for, resilience, confidence, and magnificence. And in you being a super mom, it's not easy to juggle, a life mother of 15. As a matter of fact, my spouse was asking, why are you doing it so early? I said, did you hear me? She has 15 kids. Every minute of her life is accounted for. And so people can learn a lot from you. And in the same manner that what I live for right now is all about my message of hope and resilience, because of the many adversities I've been through in life. I didn't get the chance to share during the time that we met on V Team. It's a virtual networking forum where, amazing, dynamic individuals and entrepreneurs actually gather together to share how we bless other people's lives, right? And
mhm.
so when I went in there, first of all, I was, blown away by how beautiful your chapter is, and also because of the fact that people there were very, very authentic. And
Mm.
it was very important for me to align myself with people who actually share my values, and I felt right at home with you. And going back to what I was saying, like, why am I all gung-ho about all of this resilience message out there in the world? It is
Mhm.
because, 18 years ago I was actually a respiratory therapist. And if that didn't if what I'm going to share with you did not happen, I probably will be one of the frontliners there right now. Unfortunately, about 18 years ago, I was exposed to an occupational hazard that left me with 40% permanent lung damage and severely disabled for over 10 years.
Wow.
So it's very hard for me to breathe, and also I remember even just taking two steps and I would literally turn blue. My airways became hyper reactive, and it was very, very humbling, so to speak. And
Mhm.
so I remember during that time asking the Lord that I was not ready to check out, because when my doctor, my pulmonologist from Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York, said that, you know, um, I have very hyperreactive airways, that vagus nerve actually acts on its own, and no amount of inhaler or medication can save me once that is triggered.
Wow.
Believe me, as talkative as I am, I was completely speechless at that moment, because what do you say when you feel like you were being given a death sentence? Because y- you know um a time like this, when it's cold and all that, like, every trigger actually closes my airways very, very quickly. And
Mhm.
so I remember sitting in my living room and I said, Lord, I know I was born in this world to be of service to others. Please
Mhm.
show me how.
Mhm.
And I went to a networking event, and they were actually raffling off life coaching. Like, they said, okay, 8 sessions were worth $1,200. I didn't know what a life coach was at that time, but I wanted to win something. and so
Mhm.
and so I dropped my card, and God intervened and I won. And I worked with this amazing life coach who opened my eyes and my mind into receiving other opportunities to be able to make money, because obviously I could not go back to
Mhm.
becoming I could not go back to being a respiratory therapist because I could not be under that setting. And so
Mhm.
I had to find ways to reinvent myself, so to speak. And
Mhm.
so I actually ended up becoming one of my biggest passion is actually to make people look pretty and look really confident. And I actually became a certified image consultant when I studied in New York City. And
Mhm.
then however easy it is to make to pretty people up, so to speak, I look
Mhm.
into their eyes and it's empty, and I said, I feel that I need to fix what's inside first. And so I started to become a life coach. And so I became also a life coach, and I provided transformations on people inside and out. But that
Amen.
was just the beginning. When I
Mhm.
was like down on my knees, and I was like, I went through a really nasty divorce. I've I just shared with you that I have been disabled, and when I found love again, tragically I lost my spouse to pancreatic cancer within 8 months of our wedding day. Yeah.
Wow.
And while she was dying, I got laid off from my pharmaceutical sales job. I got flat broke, lost my home, went into bankruptcy. All of those,
Mhm.
it's almost like all of the adversities that you could throw on one person, I got. And during that moment, on all of those moments, as a matter of fact, even when I am down on my knees, you know what they said, like when it's too much to stand, kneel,
Get on your knees. Yeah.
get down on your knees. And I did, and I prayed like I've never prayed before, for another chance at life, another chance at love, and also to be led to my purpose in life. And so I started to write, and that began my life as an author. So I've co-authored 3 books so far, and all of them are basically in inspired by my own stories, and my message of resilience to help people find hope, and also to awaken their resilience muscles to be able to find that courage within them to start over in
Mhm.
life. And so that has been basically the springboard of my motivational speaking. So I end up speaking all over the world. And I also host my own podcast, Faces of Resilience and the D Word. And I have my own TV show as well. It's a small local TV station here in where I live in New Jersey.
Mhm.
And also, I teach not only private clients but also corporations and organizations on image confidence and public speaking and resilient living. And right
Mhm.
now, Lachelle, we are in the midst of the worst crisis we can face
Yeah.
as a citizen of the world, not because it's not just us here in the US, but the entire world is suffering right now. And
Mhm.
they do not know what to do going forward, because look at us right now, like millions of people are out of jobs. So many people have also lost loved ones. I
Mhm.
heard in the news last night over 300,000 people have been have lost their blessed lives, and during
Yeah.
this pandemic. And
Mhm.
so many people are grieving, people are uncertain what the future lies for them. People who are out of job, how many? I think it's about 40 million now that have
Mhm.
filed for unemployment ever since the pandemic. What do you do? The jobs are not there. um
Mhm.
let's all The companies are closing, so it leaves you in a place where you're lost, you know
Mhm.
um and so I found this as an opportunity for my um for my mission to really go full throttle, so to speak, because
Mhm.
now more than ever people need to hear what I've got to share with them, because this is the time that you have to muster your resilient spirit,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
you know that's why in the many times that I have spoken in different forums, I share with people that it's time for you to do an inventory of
Yes.
your gifts, of your talents, because so many of us have innate talents, right?
Mhm.
But somehow, because of our culture, family influences, social influences, we go follow a path that may not be exactly what we want, but what we believe that the society or our family or our culture
Mhm.
will approve. So we oftentimes suppress the innate talents that we have. And
Mhm.
it's a great way to do some introspection and reflection of what it is it that lights you up, right?
Yes.
What is it that you find joy doing, that you would even do even if you didn't get paid to do it, because
Mhm.
you just love doing it? And
Mhm.
oftentimes that will ignite new ideas, new
Mhm.
businesses. And when I actually one of the trainings that I've done actually was to share with people that you have to go to your personal toolbox,
Yes.
because there are four different ways that you can go about it.
Mhm.
One is like to go and look at your skill set. Okay.
Mhm.
So in your skill set, what do you have inside of you that you can sharpen, become more relevant? Because oftentimes, because of the new technology, right, like with the new
Mhm.
normal, what the skill that we have become no longer relevant because
Mhm.
everything is digital. Like
Mhm.
baby boomers like me, you know obviously, like, we're not ready to, like most of us. I'm on the tail end of the baby boomer
Mhm.
generation. I'm not
Mhm.
ready to retire. And
Mhm.
so, but it forces me to learn. It forces me to learn. Say, for example, how many people do you know have just who are forced to learn to use Zoom?
Amen. A lot of them. Yes.
Right? Because that's the only way you can even see your families. That is the only way you can communicate. As a matter of fact, let me tell you something. In a way, I have to look back and say, my goodness, this is actually a great way for me to uh, stay healthy. Uh,
Mhm.
there's an upside to like an adversity, so to speak. Like,
Yes.
what opportunity did I find? Like, by the way, the last 9 months, I've been the healthiest I've been. And my
Mhm.
pulmonologist was actually very, very thrilled because I have been home. And so I
Mhm.
am not exposed to any element out there that trigger my pulmonary condition. And so
Mhm.
he said to me, as you can very well see, your problem is environmental. So in a way, now all my gigs, okay, all my speaking gigs, because I speak, I coach, I host big events. I was even supposed to speak at the United Nations International Women's Week on March 24th. That was
Mhm.
canceled. And so,
Mhm.
all of the, because I'm using myself as an example, because there's a lot of entertainers out there. There are
Mhm.
people in the hair, beauty, fashion industry that are out of jobs right now because there are no events. I heard that
Mhm.
Broadway here in New York City will not open until fall of next year. In the meantime, what will
Mhm.
you do? Right?
Mhm.
And in a way, the beautiful thing that also happened is that an incredible opportunity for me to help people become financially resilient fell into my lap. And who would have thought that I will be able to build a team of over 35 people during a pandemic, and actually grow
Mhm.
a business over 40 something percent during a time when people are struggling? In a way, I love the fact that I'm able to provide life solutions for people who are looking for a career right now working from home. How many moms, just like you, super mom, right?
Mhm.
It's a challenge when your kids have to be homeschooled because you
Mhm.
can't go to a job, so you need to be able to stay home and supervise them, right? And
Mhm.
teach them. So having having the flexibility to work from home is a beautiful thing for many of us who need to stay home because of health reason. Myself, you, because you being a mother,
Mhm.
to mention mother of 15, not even just a mother. Like it was really tough for me. I only had one child before. Imagine 15 out. That's what, so basically you earned, girl. You earned the right of a super mom.
Oh.
So what I'm saying is that, all of that, now I'm helping people have a career working from home. I help people find financial resilience so that in case they get sick of cancer, stroke, heart attack, they can access money while they're still alive, not when they're dead, right? Things
Mhm,
like that. I'd love being able to empower people with different ways to make different streams of income. Now,
mhm,
I'm sure you, as a head of household as well, you cannot rely on only one source of income,
mhm,
right? You cannot just rely on a job. So you need
mhm,
to have other streams of income, and hopefully some of them have passive income, because that is the only way that you can be sure that if one falls apart, if the business falls apart, you have something else to fall back on. And
mhm,
so, going back to what I was saying, the skill set, for instance, right?
mhm,
You can develop new skills, or you
mhm,
could actually find the skills that you have, hiding somewhere, that you have suppressed, and now it's time to, whether it be you're great at baking, for example, the cookies
mhm,
and all that, or catering. Look at this, the opportunity right now for you to deliver food, right? For example,
mhm,
because
mhm,
not everybody is a culinary genius. and
mhm,
and so that is one of those things. Like if you're a great cook, you can open a catering, but actually in a more like different scale. And also, it's also a great time to actually reflect on what is really your passion in life. What do you want to do? Because even nonprofits, actually, you have also a way that you can also earn a living, managing, being the administrator of a nonprofit, whatever the cost may be.
mhm,
And then also, the soul set, first of all, there's the per actually, that was the soul set that I was talking about. It's how, what your passion is. And there's the heart set. Who
mhm,
are you? You're actually, you have found that you are a super mom who is actually inspiring other mothers to be able to find beautiful balance or harmony in their lives despite their very busy schedules. Like,
mhm,
the heart set basically becomes like, okay, who is, say for example, who is Ferlie Almonte if I was not the title of my job? And
mm,
yeah,
mhm,
that is like, who are you? Take away the title. Take away all the titles.
mhm,
Who are you?
mhm,
Who were you born to be? You know what they say, like Mark Twain, right? The two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why. And
mhm,
so this would be a perfect time for you to begin to reflect, on, okay, what was I born to do? And
mhm,
quite frankly, all the different adversities I've been through in life awakened me to that. And I realized I was born to be the voice of hope and resilience. And every single thing that I do now is all about, whether I'm writing a book, whether I'm speaking, hosting a podcast, performing. I also sing. I'm also launching my one woman show called Make Your Mess Your Message. It's a 6-act one woman show. I talk about the different adversities I've been through in life in a storytelling way, and then I give people life lessons, and then I sing all original songs I wrote lyrics to. And
mhm,
whether it be in entertainment, motivation, training, everything that I do, as you can very well see, is focused on helping people become resilient. And then, of course, when you're resilient, you also build confidence within yourself, because now you are more authentic, you're certain about what you're supposed to do. And to step into the persona that you were born to do. And also, that's how you also live a magnificent life. And so, a life of impact, a life of difference. And it's absolutely amazing. I could not be more thrilled that, typically, you're going to laugh at this. Okay, all of the things that I've been through in life, in a way, shaped me, right?
mhm,
It molded me to who I've become. But my prayer right now, I said, Lord, I think I have enough material. I'm good. I think I have enough material to inspire people to find a new beginning despite a divorce, for example,
Mhm,
death, disability, despair, whatever it may be.
mhm,
It's a beautiful thing because we can lead people to dazzling destinies. Actually, that's what we share in my other podcast, the D word. And so
mhm.
find a way to share your gift. When I look at you, Lachelle, it's like, oh my goodness, she's so inspiring. Like, I know that you coach people. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes. So, my story is overcoming depression. And just as you said, when we're going through challenges, it's important for us to, one, my situation was recognizing the person I was in the mirror. So much I was going through blaming my kids, husband about this 13-year battle with depression.
Mm,
And 3 times I was hospitalized.
wow.
So after my third one, I just said, you know what, there's a pattern and I'm at every pattern. So I have to take accountability for me. And I think for a lot of people, especially now going through the things that they are experiencing, we try to blame the pandemic, we blame our income loss. And I love the way you mentioned resiliency because we have the answers inside. We have to build that muscle of courage and remember who we are. So it was during that time for me after my last hospitalization that I just remembered, you know what? I remember the things that I was actually purposed to do. And I can still do those things regardless of this painful moment in time. I can find ways to overcome this. So now I'm very passionate, one, to help people recognize depression because I wasn't in the bed, letting life pass me by, which was what I saw as the definition of depression. I was actively taking my kids to soccer. I was in PTA. I was going on field trips. My husband's a pastor. I was going to church. I was doing all these other things, but I was still unfulfilled.
Mm,
So I think a lot of times we don't recognize that we can be depressed, but it doesn't look like what it looks like to everybody else. So that's why I'm very passionate to share with women and help them transform their mindsets and overcome their limiting beliefs because, your story is not the same as mine. However, we can come together and support one another and find out the things that make us both resilient so we can be the best version of ourselves.
yeah, I love what you were saying about, like, oh, in all different situations you were there. Yeah,
Right.
we're going to laugh at this because it reminded me of one of the men that I was coaching, right?
Hmm.
So he said, like, he has had 7 relationships in a span of 2 years.
Hmm.
And I said to him, okay, there's a pattern here, and there is a common denominator. Right? And I said, like, and I'm sure you know what is the common denominator and the repetition of the,
Yes.
it's only you could recognize that and acknowledge that, and actually own up to it. And
Hmm.
because it's not gonna change if you keep doing the same thing over and over.
Insanity. Yes.
Yeah, the definition of insanity. And so,
Mhm.
and it does not, oftentimes, it does not take your own smart. Sometimes, like what you just said, you were actually beautifully self-aware to be able to recognize that, but not everybody can see that, and so they cannot be a mirror of their own selves. And so sometimes that's why they oftentimes need to either see a professional to have a soundboard, a really objective soundboard, to be able to
Absolutely.
tell them, like, listen, there is something that needs to change in here. Because,
Mhm.
like, how certain people would say, like, oh, they preach positivity, they hate negative people, but when you
Mhm.
look at inside of them, really, like, who are you? You know,
Right.
they are actually the problem. They
Ex- Exactly.
the pro
Exactly.
you know what, I forgot, like, I just wanted to go back to what I was saying earlier, before I forget. The
Hmm.
heart set, by the way, is who you are, right? I said, like, who you are, who you embody, like, say, and also for us to become the person that we want to attract, right? Everybody wants, like, I like to be around people who are blah blah blah, right? They have a checklist of all the traits that they want in a person. In the meantime, are you that person? You
Amen.
right? Yeah.
Amen. Yes.
Do you think that your life will be fulfilled, and they will complete you, and they would fill in the voids of your life, because, oh, those are the requirements that I don't see in myself, or maybe they think that they have it. But the whole point is that I love what you were saying about awareness, self-awareness, and you being able to take control. Not everybody can do that. And so
Mhm.
what you do to help people recognize what the problem is, and help them, move through that. and
Mhm.
and what you were saying, like, I am very curious with you.
Mhm.
If you were not the kind of person who would, like, lay down and not get out of bed and not shower and all that, so how did you know that you actually were having depression?
I love that, and that is a great question. And for my situation, each of the times I didn't know. So my definition was not what I thought depression was. So, of course, I'm thinking I'm doing what I'm doing. I just was feeling like I was failing every day. Now, my husband sought intervention for me, so I didn't even see the signs. So I'm grateful that he was able to recognize that. But for many people, they don't have that. And I really became passionate during this pandemic to help people be proactive with the signs because I never saw them. And so it would be reacting after every situation of being hospitalized. So during this pandemic, I came up with a movement I call the SMILE movement. And
Mhm.
it's an acronym of 5 key areas that people need to be mindful of that can prevent them from going into a downward spiral that could last for years and years. And so that is your sleep, your mood, your inner voice, laughter, and energy.
Oh, I
So
like that.
for me, I didn't recognize because I was so busy having this checklist. I was so busy trying to people please. I was so busy trying to do everything right, wearing masks, invisible, of course, hiding behind all these different situations that I didn't see the signs. So now I like to empower people to recognize, you need to get a good night's sleep. Oftentimes during this period of 13 years, I remember sleeping sometimes as much as 4 hours a night.
Mm.
So you think I'm nursing, and part of that, my kids are getting up with night terrors or just not being able to sleep because you've had some caffeine in your system and you can't go to bed, right? You've been using caffeine to stay awake.
Yeah.
So
Take
many
care.
things.
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
so basically, like, recognizing that you need care for, you know, eh,
No
that,
self-care. Okay.
that's great thing, that, like, that's a great thing to recognize, because, you may be super mom, but you're
Mhm.
also just a woman who needs,
Amen.
you're also just a person who needs rest, who needs nourishment in the, in the body and spirit, and the, and all that. And so you need some me time, so to speak. It's very draining, and I was gonna say, like, oh my goodness, like, I'm even thinking, like, oh my gosh, can you imagine, like, post, how do you call that, um what's that, depression after
Oh,
having.
postpartum depression. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking, like, having so many kids, like, how many of them could have piled up? It may have shown in different shapes, and you
Yeah.
know, and I love that acronym that you were giving, because you know, um, all of those are really very very important. And you mentioned energy, right? Like, the
Mhm.
energy right now, it's like such a big buzzword, because you know um there's a lot of people who come into a room, and you feel like a dark cloud just came over you, like, oh my
Mhm.
god, and you can't wait to get out of it. And there are also some people who enter a room and just brighten everything up. And it's beautiful to be around people like that. And
Mhm.
you you know what, here I am again. Because that what I love about this conversation is that, like, we can go from one thing to another. I just didn't want to forget. I said, like, oh, I was supposed to share with them four sets of tool
Yes,
sets.
so the first one was skill set. I'm a
Actually, the first one should be mindset.
mindset, okay.
The
Imma put these
mindset
up
should be,
here.
be careful of what you think, because they become your reality.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, because your thoughts become your reality. And so, when oftentimes, like, I love what you even say about, like, when you look in the mirror, right? Like, what do you
Mhm.
see? And so, like, me, in the, like, I could have a bad, like a Don King bad hair day in the morning.
Put a hat on, girl.
And then I go to the mirror, but I talk to myself, damn, you're gorgeous.
Amen, amen.
How
Because
you
it's not about the hair. Yeah,
Yeah, because the whole point is that you have to be kind to yourself, because if you
mhm,
talk very unkindly to
right.
yourself, that's how people will receive you. You know,
Amen.
and oftentimes we focus on our faults. Like, say for example, like, even with when, say for example, right, especially like the young people, oh,
Mhm,
you're so pretty, and then you think, but except for the zit that I have, like, nobody
mm.
noticing the zit, but
Exactly.
you have to draw attention to what people don't even see, but they see what
Mhm,
your whole essence. So, but the whole idea is that how you think of yourself, how you see the world, will change. I love Dr. Wayne Dyer's
mhm,
right,
mhm.
when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Change.
So
Mhm,
that is pure mindset. When you start to change the way, try to reframe the way you look at things. Because, say for example, you see something, oh, entrepreneurship is hard.
mhm,
You have, it's all sales. And then invite them to think about, like, well, everything about your life actually is sales. You have to sell an idea of what meal to feed your family.
mhm,
You sold yourself to your husband,
mhm,
because you showed yourself as being the epitome of the ideal woman that he wants to marry, things like that. But I'm just
mhm,
saying, that could be just an example. But if you just look at the way you look at things, the mindset is very, very powerful. And
mhm,
yeah, and then also the skill set that we need to sharpen or find new skills. And then there's the heart set. That is exactly who we are without the title. What Who you
mhm,
are in life, what your mission is in life. And then, like, the soul set is actually finding the passion deep within you, to be able to spark the impact, to spark that
mhm,
joy in what you do, so that you are creating a legacy and not just chasing currency. So,
mhm.
that's why they say, like, when you do something and you don't chase the currency, but you chase the legacy, the money will follow. And
So
so
true.
the whole point is that don't do it just because you know it's a job. But if you
Mhm.
put a little bit of your heart and soul into it, you would see magic happens. And
That yeah.
Lachelle, I'm very curious, how do you do it being a super mom? Like, how do you create harmony in your life? You're dealing with 15 different personalities plus your husband, so that's actually, that is a very, very powerful thing to share. Because you know how it is, like, even in a class,
Mhm.
even in a group of people, like, you're in a club, there's like a bazillion different personalities. You have to kind of like massage your way to it. Like, what is your
Mhm.
secret?
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. The first thing is I'm blessed because we only have 10 of them that live at home. So
Oh.
we've gotten a few of them that are on their way. Um, but we do have 8 of them that are doing e-learning. So that's kind of a challenge. But
Mhm.
one of the things I'd say is the biggest key to my success is collaboration and recognizing what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. So, coming from a background where I was a high achiever, always looking for that validation through grades and performance, and being able to accomplish that throughout my whole career with high school, college, and even getting a degree, but then staying home, I realized that I don't know everything. I had to be okay with that, admitting that I didn't know all the answers, that I had to get help, because that was totally the opposite of how I was raised in terms of having that work ethic. If you want something, you work for it and you do what it takes. And so with that, I had to recognize what it meant to get help. And so I think that was the first thing, was dropping my ego and realizing that I didn't know everything. And then um, focusing on what you want to accomplish. If you have a mission to make a meal, so to speak, focusing on that. How can you get that accomplished? How many people can help? What are the resources you have? You don't have to be the one that gets the credit for everything. One of the things I'm most proud of this year is this collaborative book. I'm now an author as well, and I'm the only one from the United States. Thank you. Inspirational Women of the World. I'm the only one from the United States who worked on this global project because we wanted to inspire women all over the world. But we took our own piece of the pie and brought it together to make it something beautiful, to make it something impactful that we can share with other people. So I think it's important to realize you don't have to be good at everything, but the things that you are good at, learn how to continue to sharpen those skills. I mean, we put so much attention on athletics, for example. You might have LeBron James. Yes, he does great on the court, but that doesn't mean that he knows how to change a toilet, right? In a bathroom. We just make people think, oh, they're just great and phenomenal at everything. I mean, my kids argue, some of them don't do their work. I mean, I have a number of things that don't go right, but what you focus on grows. So knowing how to work with others, bring out their gifts and their zones of genius, coming together and doing that, and then making masterpieces every day.
I love that. So as you're talking about this, I said like, oh my gosh, okay. So basically, her secret is connection, communication, collaboration, delegation.
Amen. Amen.
Uh,
Learned it after many times of getting it wrong. Yes.
yeah, it's so funny because like when people also ask me, it's like, Ferlie, if say for example, here you are completely at a loss right now, right? What you know, what should I do? Okay, I love Maya. I'm sure you know Maya Angelou, right? One of the
Mhm.
one of her quotes always pretty much led my life. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Oh my goodness, I've done a lot of attitude changes over the years. And also, when I was listening to you and you were saying all of the different steps, that's like, so I was like, oh, those are like the connection, collaboration, communication, and delegation. So I was giving it and also
Absolutely.
I could remember it, right? And then of
Mhm.
course, for those people who are listening right now and through this pandemic and you do not know what to do with yourselves because you are not clear, like when you don't have clarity, it's going to be very hard because you may have a
Yeah,
GPS system, but if you don't plug in a destination, you will just be going around in circles. And so I also
absolutely.
felt, like, first of all, I said, first of all, make a decision, in your life. What is it that you do not like? What do you want to do with your life? Okay, make a decision. And then if you know that you want a change in your life but you could not figure out how to do it, be around people, just like we say, connect with people who can help you. You can
Mhm.
hire a coach. Getting a coach is actually one of the best things you could do for your life because
Mhm.
it allows you to see things from a different perspective.
Mhm.
And so whether you're going to get the help of a professional, like say for example like a therapist or a counselor or a coach, invest on your invest on your success, invest on your personal development, because that will give you a clearer roadmap to where you want to go. And then, of
Amen.
course, the third is take massive inspired action. If Because all of otherwise, if you don't do any, if you don't implement, what you do is that what they say, like, an idea without action is just a wish. And
So
so
true.
stop wishing, start doing,
Amen.
and
That
so,
is so phenomenal. You're right. That is so true.
right, because
And so many people who were, we've got a lot of people who are reinventing themselves right now. A lot
yeah.
of people watching or figuring out, man, she's awesome. How was she able to do this in the midst of all that she's experienced? What is the best way for them to get a hold of you? Because this is very inspiring, and it seems, like you're an easy person to talk to, somebody that they could really relate to.
I feel very blessed that way. Actually, all of my social media is basically Ferlie Almonte. So you can send me a private message on Facebook, Facebook, or LinkedIn or Instagram. I actually, if you just go at Ferlie Almonte, you will find me. You can send me a message. Yeah, I would love to actually bless your audience with, 20 minutes laser consultation, complimentary. Um, so that if you could just kind of like get an idea of what the hell to do with your life, because right now you're stuck. I am. I'm out of job. Here I am, or I'm afraid that I could be losing my job very soon. What am I going to do? What is my plan B? Who am I now? I'm, like, your feelings, you're feeling scared and feeling lost. I'd love to be able to help you, so maybe I could help ignite a little something in you that you may not have thought of. I even help people, by the way, write resumes, and I actually write resumes for people as well, because and you're going to laugh at this. I even, for those people who are single and ready to mingle, I even write their online dating profile, because when I give them a makeover and I write their profile, they said, "This is me." They don't even recognize themselves, because they don't see it from how I see them. Like, I always focus on what's amazing about the person. So when you work with me, when you consult with me, we can try and figure out what is it that could lead you to your brand new beginning. In new year, new life, new you, new normal, whatever it may be. Let's get you there. Okay. And thank you so very much, Lachelle, for allowing me this opportunity to share my gift, because right now, you know, um, with jobs no longer available, it's very important for us to be resilient, to keep an open mind, to explore other options. And I wish everyone well. I wish everyone safety. I wish everyone joy and serenity. And
I love it.
yeah, 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 yes, you're right. And so just find, breathe. Don't forget to breathe when you're begin panicking. Just close your eyes and just breathe, take few deep breaths. It's very cleansing, and it was kind of like help you center yourself, and be surrounded by people who are positive. Don't, not people who are going to, bring you down and diss you, and actually scare you even more. Find people and be part of a group. And Lachelle and I connected in a virtual networking group. There's a lot of amazing groups out there that you can be part of, that you would see that are there are several people just like you, who are looking to connect with somebody who has a beautiful heart, who is kind, who is ready for change, and would like to do massively everything it takes to impact a powerful legacy in this world. So
I love
I wish everyone the best of 2021. Lachelle, I hope that I could get you on my podcast, because I'm
it.
sure so many
Absolutely.
people can learn from you, Supermom, because there's a lot of mothers out there struggling to keep a balance in their lives right now. People who have to continuously feel that they have to be strong and put together,
Yes.
but in their minds they're falling apart and they need you. And so I'd love to be able to schedule you on my podcast, Facebook
Absolutely.
as well, because this is what you call collaboration. This is how we do.
Absolutely.
This is what we do to help lift one another, because it is in lifting one another that we all win in life. It doesn't have to be either you or me. We can do it together, hand in hand.
I love that. And, I hope everybody was taking notes. You have given us so many nuggets from connection, communication, collaboration, our mindset. You guys just need to go back and watch the replay to make sure you write it all down. So
Yeah.
I encourage you to reach out to Ferlie and listen to her story. Go back and listen and think about, overcoming the obstacles that she had to overcome. She didn't let that be an excuse to give up. I tell people excuses are just the same thing as quitting. It's just a cute way of putting it. So don't give up. Continue to move forward, continue to get around the right people, continue to be transparent and authentic, as she mentioned in the very beginning, so that you can attract the right people in your tribe. So we want to thank you all for watching today. And I encourage you to reach out to Ferlie and continue to be the best version of yourself. So we want to thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me. Mwah. Take care.
You're welcome.